So Clever Mojo describes Sunrise City as a game of strategic zoning, bidding, and building. You play the role of one of the city's founders, and you'll be competing with the other founders while trying to make the best city possible. It's important for me to mention that what I'm showing here is an early prototype of the game. The final game is going to look much different with sturdier tiles and high quality cards. What I have here is basically stickers and foam, but it gets the point across, and the game still works fine. So Sunrise City is it's a mix of bidding, tile laying, and just a dash of role selection, just to spice things up. Since there's not too much information about the game, I'm going to go ahead and take the time and explain how you go about playing Sunrise City with a brief overview of each phase. All right, to set the game up, each player is going to take all the bid markers of a specific color. You're going to set up the scoreboard and place the City Hall tile in the middle of the table. You'll then shuffle the tiles and stack them in separate areas. One of them for the building tiles and the other one for the zone and the community tiles. Shuffle the roll cards, and each player is going to be dealt 4. And then you start a draft. And all you're going to do is choose one of the cards, pass it to your left, just like a normal draft. And you're going to do this until each player has 3 cards. And then you discard the leftover cards. So each game has 3 rounds, and each round has 4 phases. Phase 1 is your preparation. So each player is going to randomly draw 4 zone tiles and 4 building tiles. Players will then choose and simultaneously reveal one of their roll cards. Then the player with the lowest number roll card becomes the first player for the rest of the round. Phase 2 is your zoning. So you start with the first player, and moving clockwise, everyone places one zone or community tile in turn order until all 4 zone tiles of each player are placed. This is how you create the footprint of the city. And zone tiles must be connected with at least one sidewalk, and that's the gray area on the side of the tile, in order for the move to be legal, of course. And if the player adds a community tile to the city, they immediately draw a new zone tile and add it to the city as well. Phase 3 is going to be bidding. So starting with the first player and moving clockwise, same as before, each player will lay one of their 6 bidding markers on an undeveloped zone tile. Now this is going to continue until everyone has placed all of their markers. You may place a marker on top of someone else's if you want to steal the zone away from them. And placing 2 markers of the same color on top of each other closes or wins a zone, and other players may no longer bid there. And at the end of the bidding phase, the winners of the zones are the owners of the top bidding markers. All other markers are removed from the board and returned to their players. Phase 4 is construction. And starting with the first player and moving clockwise, each player will play 1 building tile and pass until all players have played all of their building tiles. So building tiles have to match the color or colors of the tiles below them, with the exception of purple, which is kind of a wild mixed use color. So the purple ones can be matched with any color as needed. And first floor buildings, or buildings built directly on top of zoning tiles, must be built on top of an area you control with a bidding marker. Now you only have to control one tile under a building. But if another player controls the other tile, it's still a legal move, but you may have to give that other player bonus points. You may also stack buildings on top of one another. You may even build across 2 stacks of buildings, as long as it would be perfectly level and the colors match. So the scoring is pretty interesting, and it's mostly in the zoning phase, and the construction phase is when you're going to do you're scoring for the most part. So in the zoning phase, if you lay a zoning tile adjacent to another tile of the same color, you score a point for creating a district. A district can be more than 2 tiles, and you can score points equal to the number of same color tiles adjacent to the zone tile you just placed. And in the construction phase, you score points equal to the number in the middle of any building tile that you place. So if you place a building on the first floor, you and perhaps even an opponent will score bonus points depending on who owns the zone tiles the building is placed on. The bonus points are located on the top left and top right of the building tiles. And building tiles that are placed on top of other building tiles only score the points in the middle of the tile. No bonuses are given. You also have floor markers, and these are placed on top of even numbered floors. And the next person to build on that floor will get that many bonus points in addition to their normal building points. Just kind of an extra way to spice up the scoring system. And these are going to continue to add up by 1 for each even numbered floor. So if everyone starts stacking their buildings, those bonuses can get pretty crazy. So points are tallied on the scoring track, and every time you score 10 or more points, you get a benchmark token. And if you can score exactly enough points to stop your marker on the top of the scoring track, you get 2 benchmark tokens. So correct timing and knowing when to score points can really give you an advantage. And the last few components I'm going to discuss are the roll cards and community tiles and how they can alter the game. So as I said earlier, in phase 1, everyone's going to pick and use a roll card from the 3 they start with. Now these cards stay active for the entire round, although some are only useful in specific phases. You're going to use 1 roll card per round, so eventually you're going to have to use all of them. And roll cards are pretty much game modifiers, and they can let you do some interesting things when you play them. So some of the things you can do with roll cards is switching your bidding marker with someone else's after all the bids are placed, which you normally can't do. Another one lets you play a first floor building, even if you don't own any of the zones underneath it, or place a marker on the zone tile, effectively blocking anyone from bidding or building there. So the community tiles also modify the game in the construction phase. So building a light colored building in a zone surrounding a community tile will give you bonus points. And with the exclusive bonus community tiles in the Kickstarter package, they can even take points away, allowing you even more ways to get that double benchmark score.